Coming from a married couple who investigates all things supernatural, most people forget one side of investigating, the everyday human side. Before investigating, they had to learn everything that's involved with cases, all the while balancing their marriage, family life, friendships, and work life. Twisted Ascensions brings an inside look at how their marriage works on and off cases, spreading the knowledge they've learned over the years about trauma, drug abuse, dealing with spiritual gifts, protection work, and so much more. Dive into the world of a paranormal couple that doesn't shy away from hard questions, but rather offers raw and unfiltered answers. Listen to the good, bad, and ugly stories of various topics and hear from other investigators, past clients, and colleagues within the field. Now, your host of Twisted Ascensions, Caden and Allisa Mask.
Welcome to the show, Murder, coming to you live from the hollows of Mississippi. My name is Caden.
I'm Allisa, and this is where we'll be talking about all things supernatural, our daily lives as a couple, and how everything intertwines.
Oh, yeah. And this, my friends, is Twisted Ascensions. So tonight, what we're going to do is kind of let you guys get to know us, because to understand how we do things and why we talk about the things that we talk about
and how we landed here talking to you,
you kind of have to understand our backstory. So that's what tonight is we're giving you the blueprints of us.
Yes.
The good,
raw,
the bad,
and unfiltered.
Oh, yeah,
for sure.
For sure. So for those of you who missed the intro, my name is Caden.
My name's Allisa.
We are a married couple that also investigate the supernatural together.
Yes.
We have been together for 10 years, been married for 4 of those.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been a
wild ride.
Extremely wild ride.
And we've landed here.
Oh, yeah.
The spaceship has landed.
It is, man. When I say that most people probably don't realize the ride that we've been in.
They don't. I mean, I'm sure there's some that can relate, though.
Yeah.
And maybe they just are kind of in the shadows.
And that's why we're doing this show.
That's exactly why we're doing this show.
Because you're never alone.
No.
Never alone.
No.
So I guess to jumpstart all of this, hey, everybody that's tuning in.
Hi, guys.
Make sure whenever you join the live that you go to the StreamYard link that Mr. Todd, I'm sure, put above us. You have to click it and give it permission so that we can see who you are.
Yes.
So whoever the Facebook user is, hello. How you
Facebook
doing?
user. Hi, guys.
So let's jump right in because we have 2 hours and we have a lot of backstory to cover. So do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
In the hot seat.
In the hot seat, for sure. Okay. So my journey into the paranormal started really back when I was 16, 17. No, I'm sorry. 17 going into 18. Yeah, 17 going into 18. Whole different person back then, whole different life. But I was still in high school and I was living with a girlfriend who definitely did not treat the supernatural with respect.
At all.
At all.
At all.
And, most people, when they have what was your first experience? They have like this cute little story of, oh, I lived in a haunted house and we had, my Aunt Jane was there. My Uncle Tom was there.
He came and see me in my sleep.
Came and see me.
Yeah.
No, in true Caden fashion, mine had to be in your face, like, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Any hootie. I was with a girl at the time and we decided to go to my cabin. We went to the cemetery. And they wanted to, do their investigating, which back then I didn't know paranormal investigations. They went there. It was a cemetery I was uncomfortable with. I always got the heebie-jeebies in it, like some really just
funky vibes.
Funky vibes.
You still do when we go there.
I really do. I hate that cemetery. But I stayed on the outskirts. her and our other friends went on the inside of it. And they were being very disrespectful, laying on and stepping over the tombstones and such.
Mhm.
And when we went back home, that's when everything really started. We get home. About a week later, I started having some really wild and crazy dreams, lucid dreams, where I could see, or not, well, of course I could see, but I could smell things in my dream. I could feel things in my dream. It was just wild. If somebody punched me, I felt it and I woke up with a bruise.
Yeah.
It was gnarly, to say the least. And so it started off small. Then it started to progress into sleep paralysis and
sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. What did I say? Paralysis.
No, I was making sure.
Oh,
These
yeah,
fancy headphones.
sleep paralysis. And about, say, month number 2 is when it really started getting heavy. I was having nightmares every single night. Excuse me. I could not, for the life of me, just go to sleep. You know, like she had to be there for me to go to sleep. And if she woke me up as she was leaving, then I couldn't go back to sleep. And she went to work at like 4 or 5 a.m. So I was just kind of screwed. I hated being by myself. And that
especially then.
Yeah, especially then. Because I always felt like something was coming out of the room or something was watching me or something was going to hurt me. So then about month number 3 going into the 4th month is when it really started getting bad. That's where the time loss started. And because I was so sleep deprived, I was hallucinating during the day.
Yeah.
And I worked at the hospital at this time. So I was back there doing my thing and I would see, for lack of a better term, monsters out the corner of my eye, like giant, huge things. I mean, and the smell. I just remember the smell. The smells were horrible.
Yeah.
Like horrible. But that's when the loss of time really started. I would be walking to go to the bathroom, and then hours later, I was standing out on the front porch. No recollection of how I got there.
And you have to remember, 17 to 18 years old. Like, that's a lot. 17 to 18. Yeah. I mean, that's a
17,
rough
18,
age.
Freshly kicked out of my house.
Right.
Living with somebody for the very first time, like, other than my parents.
Set the tone for that story. Like, it was a rough time.
At once.
Yes.
So yeah, and I just remember one night I fell asleep, and hours later when I woke up, my girlfriend at the time and a friend were just standing there looking at me in utter shock and horror.
Like just disbelief and fear.
Yeah. And then I looked down and I had a weapon in my hand.
Woo!
And apparently I was trying to harm them. I don't remember it at all. And that's whenever my girlfriend's friend was like, I think I can help you. I'm like, I don't think you can. I really don't. And this lasted for another, it was at the 8-month mark when I finally had enough. And in between that, it steadily just got worse. There was a loss of time. There was a sleep paralysis. There was the nightmares. I was waking up with bite marks and claw marks and scratch marks, bruising all over me. It was just really, really bad. And
I had a question. So at that time, like this was kind of before, I mean, we had a little bit of social media, but we didn't have anything like we have now in this time frame. So at that time, I've heard this story a gazillion times, but no one else has. So I'm going to ask you this. Like, did you ever think of, man, I wish there was somebody I could call that could help me do this? Or
oh yeah, like I begged anybody and everybody to help that I knew. Again, at that time, it was a really bad portion of my life.
Right.
The friends that I did have, they thought I was crazy. They didn't know what to do.
They wanted to take you to the hospital.
They didn't want, So what ended up happening was I was at work. Again, I worked at the hospital, and I was having another hallucination of these monsters. And I was just standing there, and 2 of my coworkers, they were like, they asked me, we've been noticing that you don't look like you've been sleeping. You've gotten very thin, because I went from, at that time,
I've seen pictures,
140 to 100 pounds soaking wet.
Right.
within, short amount of time to
Right.
me. And they're like, you're on drugs. I'm like, no, if I told you, you would really think I was on drugs. I ended up telling them what was going on, and they were like, oh, well, you need to go see the psychic in Tennessee. And I'm
Yes.
like, there's a psychic in Tennessee that I don't know about?
And for reference, we do live in Mississippi, and Tennessee seems like it's just a neighboring state, and it is, but it's a little bit of a drive from where we're at.
Yeah.
And this particular psychic is still alive, but very hard to find. Like it's not an easy thing to get to.
It's not like you can just look her up on Facebook or look her
Right.
up in the yellow pages at that time, the white pages.
Yeah.
You just could not do that.
No.
So they called the lady, set up an appointment. The very next day is whenever I went to her, and she read tea leaves. That was her thing.
I still think that's so awesome.
It really was.
Yeah.
So she read my tea leaves, and she told me everything. I just remember that the first thing she said when I walked through there is, "Oh, honey, bless your heart." I mean, I just broke like, just hold me like you're my mama.
Yeah.
It was bad. But she told me that what I can do is go get a spice called marjoram and set it. She told me what to do with it. And she was specific about, when I set this out, you do not need to stay in the house. Everybody needs to leave for a couple of hours. I'm like, okay. So I go home. I go buy the spice. I do what she tells me to do. And because I have a vendetta against this thing that disliked me, I decided to stay.
Of course you did.
And when I tell you that those 8 months compared to those 4 hours, they don't hold a candle to each other.
Really?
I now understand why she tells people to leave. Because that was the most fearful I believe I've ever been in my life.
Does it trump like your experience in Indiana that you had?
Considering that these were actual knives and pots and pans being thrown at me, yes, it was.
I got it. I got you.
Horrendous. So, because of the spice, that took care of the problem. It took a little bit more after that, but for the most part, I was able to sleep. I got rid of this attachment. And I decided right then and there that I was going to go into the paranormal because I did not want anybody to feel the way that I felt.
Right.
Because during this time, I have to be careful how I say it. I tried to unalive myself multiple times.
Right.
Because I just felt helpless. Nobody could help me. This thing was hurting me that I could not see.
Right.
And I did try to the point of the item that I used was full and defaulted.
Yeah. 3
times. And whenever I pointed it away, it magically worked. That's how bad it toyed with me.
So you say then that's when you decided you wanted to do the paranormal thing. But I'm only setting a tone so that everybody that hasn't heard the story understands. At this time, there was I think we might have had MySpace and Google and Yahoo, and that was about it, right?
Yes.
So you didn't have, and at this time, paranormal shows were not all over TV.
No.
There were a few movies and stuff
we had
out.
Taps, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Taps
but
was
you had to
original.
look them up on the real YouTube back in the day.
At this time I don't know because we didn't have TV. They still came on the Discovery Channel.
I didn't have
History Channel.
I didn't have the Discovery Channel at that time frame. I'm just saying, you didn't have anything to compare going into the paranormal too. You just knew you wanted to help people.
I just knew that I wanted to help people, and my thought process was, okay, she told me to use an herb to banish this thing. Let me learn a little bit about herbs.
Right.
To learn how to banish things. And that's what I did for a couple of years after that. I did it by myself. I didn't have equipment. People would call me and be like, hey, I have issues. I think something's in my house. And I would quite literally walk in to banish these things. But that's on another side. How did you get into the paranormal?
Well, my story is not as fabulous as yours and probably nowhere near as interesting. But mine's not scary either. So, it's just, it's not. But when I was a little over 3 years old, I had little visitors my whole life.
Yeah.
That was just a thing, and I really didn't know that they weren't real people. It was, and
Are
I
you
never.
tearing up right now?
No, I'm allergies are really messing up, bro.
Are you already tearing up with this story? You normally do. But...
I do, but I'm not to that part yet.
Okay.
But it's coming.
Okay.
No, I'm going to because I'm thinking about it. But I always had little visitors, like for as long as I can remember. Like they
Yeah.
were just, and I, as a child, didn't know that they weren't real.
Right.
Like, I mean, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so as I got a little older, I was a little over 3, and I was in my bed one night, and this man, with what I presumed at the time, based on what I had been taught, to be with angels.
But why do you think at that age you said you were
A little over 3? I was 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah.
I mean, was it just a thought that came to your brain, like he's an angel, or was it
No.
that being
Even though I don't,
like you're a nice man, like you just felt the vibe, and like, oh, you're cool.
so at the time I had been raised, well, we're gonna go deep real quick. So at the time, in that time in my life, I was raised in a very kind of strict Christian church, and as a child, you're like, you go to Sunday school class and you see these images of angels, or you see porcelain angels, so you get this idea, so you get this, this idea frame of what you think they look like, right? Yeah. So in every church, there's a picture of Jesus,
Yes.
So you kind of get an idea of what he would look like. So as a child, that's kind of imprinted in your mind, I guess. Okay. And that's how I've seen them when they came.
So
like,
you've seen them like with the flowing white.
Yes. Thing. Like that's what they look like. Well, actually, no. I told you the angels. I don't know if anybody that's listening knows what I'm talking about, but back in the day, there was this little wooden box that had this fabric on it, had a light, and it would spin and put shadows on your wall, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the angels didn't have skin color. There was shadows on my wall just spinning around like somebody had put one of those on my floor.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got you.
So I'm talking to you like you've never heard this.
Well, I mean, you actually explained it a lot better than what you normally do.
Well,
so I'm like, that actually makes a lot more sense.
That's what the angels look like. It's like outlines of wings, just literally going around the walls of my room, like one of those things had been set in the middle. There's this man that was standing in my room, and he touched me, and he woke me up, and he told me to go across the hallway and tell my parents that it was going to be okay. Like, and I was like, I wasn't afraid. I was not scared. I never felt uncomfortable. I was a little confused. And he proceeded to tell me that I needed to go repetitively tell them it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. It's just time for him to go. And I had a baby brother at this time. And the next day, my baby brother passed away. And I did get up that night and run into my parents' room, and I told them there was some man in my room, and this is what he told me, and this is what was happening. And they weren't shook like they were afraid for me.
I would have been shook.
They weren't. Well, they were used to it. I talked to people all the time that weren't there. They knew. I mean, it wasn't like it was a shocker that I said some man came in my room or whatever. That was just not shocking to them. But what was shocking to them was what I was telling them about my baby brother. And they didn't necessarily brush it off, but they didn't really know how to receive that information. So it was kind of, got up the next day, and my mom went to work. My dad went to deer camp. My brother went to the daycare, and he passed away there. And I remember specific things for months after my baby brother died that I would wake up and go tell my parents, because a man would come and tell me, which now that I'm older and I look back, I don't believe that the man was Jesus. I don't believe that was angels. Yeah. I believe that was someone guides. What I thought were angels were guides. And then the man that came and seen me was my grandfather.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so, but it took me years to get to that. As a kid, that's what my mind wanted to see. So that's what I seen. And from that point on, it just progressively got bigger and bigger and bigger. And my parents never, ever, ever dismayed me. They never made me feel crazy, anything like that. And I've seen people my whole life, and I would ask questions. And there at that time, I remember like when we first got internet, my mom would go in a chat room or something, but there was nowhere for them to contact to help me.
But to give them context, I mean, your parents were warned about
I forget to throw that in there. So my great grandmother told my parents what I am capable of is genetic, or it's believed to be genetic. And when I was born, she told my parents that I was the one that had it in our family. I didn't learn any of this until I was much older. And I think a lot of it's just because it was an uncomfortable topic for my parents to talk about, because they really just didn't know how. For preference, we live in the Bible Belt in Mississippi, and so like everything is extremely against what we do.
Right.
It's automatically presumed that you are a devil worshiper or you are messing with dark things and so on and so forth. So like my parents genuinely did not know how to help me. And then as time got on and on and on, the internet got bigger. I started reaching out to people. I guess I was around the age of 16. And then I left the state of Mississippi for a little while, and I met several people.
Yeah.
And that was really when my book got opened with meeting other people. And then you fast forward into my 20s, and I started finding people who could do what I could do and do more. And I wanted to learn. And it just literally snowballed from there.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember the first time you and I found on Facebook someone investigating, like, really locally to us or something. And I was like, oh my goodness, look what they're doing.
Well, we have 9 minutes until our first break.
Okay.
We can kind of go into that a little bit of, how we decided to investigate together.
Yes, that's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you guys heard separately what we did, when we weren't together. Now, when me and Allisa first started dating, I was very, very, very sick for the first 6 months. We both were extremely sick. And
no matter what we did.
No matter what we did.
Emergency room.
Yeah, we did. And we just thought it's where we worked, but it wasn't, because shortly after we started dating, we both quit there. And then we kept getting sick. And finally, I remember going to Alyssa's, because she lived
a good 25 minutes away.
25 minutes away. I go to her house, and we're one of our, 3 o'clock in the morning conversations. And she was like, are you ever going to tell me what you are? And I'm like, her? What?
What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
My name is Caden. Nice to meet you. What do you mean? Who am I? And I just remember you saying, I know that you can see things. I know that you can do things. What are you?
Yeah.
And I just remember that opened up the floodgate of, okay, this is me. This is what I can do. And then you told me what you were, what you could do. And it made sense. Those are topics for other shows. So we're going to kind of keep you on the line on that one.
Yes.
But
you got to come back for
that. You got to come back for that one. But we found out what each other was. We found out we both had an interest in the paranormal. And then, like Allisa said, it took many years, almost 3 years. 3 years before we realized that, people actually do this on a team level, not just an individual level. Like, they publicize it and put it out there.
Yep.
And it just so happened that, Allisa knew the person that owned this team.
Yes.
And they had some openings to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Yeah. No. We went to, no, it wasn't.
No, it was Old South first.
Yeah, there's another
one. Went to Old South Pittsburgh first. Was our first investigation together. First seeing how we
got to spend the night in there that night.
A legitimate team operate, and we fell in love with it right then and there. We decided right then, this is what we want in our life. This is how we want everything to operate. Little did we know back then, though, man, what a roller coaster that it really can be. Hello, Diet.
Hi. Hi, Dawn.
Hey, Dawn.
Hi, guys.
Little did we know, though, how much of an impact when you get involved with the paranormal that's going to have on your family, your friends, your marriage,
your professional life,
your professional
work,
life.
Everything.
Yeah. I mean, it involves everything. And that's what this show's really about is the very sensitive topics that
no one talks
about. Everybody talks about the fun of investigating. Yes, it's fun. Everybody talks about, protection. Yes, that's important. Everybody talks about this location is haunted and this one not so much. But nobody really talks about that I've seen. Not saying it's not out there, but I've never seen a married couple actually talk about what being involved in the paranormal field does to their marriage and to their friendship and to their careers.
Like, to their life.
Yeah.
And we're saying that like it's all bad. It's not.
No.
It's just it's a permanent stamp. Like it's there, and you have to work with it, work around it. You have to. It's just you have to integrate it into.
Yeah. And
everything.
it's not an easy process.
No, it's not.
If you're as involved as we are with it. And when we dove into the paranormal, we dove.
Hard.
I mean, like we went to the atmosphere and dropped down into the ocean
And went
with
back.
Superman velocity.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
We dove heavily into it to where after our first investigation together at Old South, within a month, we created a whole new team.
Mm-hmm.
Within 3 months of that team, we were filming with production crew.
Yep.
We went to, I don't know, so many places. There was so many clients, so many mentors.
So cliche, but it's insane when we talk about it because it seemed like it was
so fast.
Right. Like within 3 months, we had a production crew following us around with a freaking boomstick.
And listen, let me tell you, we were not ready.
No,
We weren't ready for that.
you hear how we talk? We were not ready for any of that.
We were too redneck for this TV screen.
We
let me
learned
tell you.
real quick. We did not like that,
But it was still cool.
It was an amazing experience.
And we're with that team for over a year.
Oh, we were with them for
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Mhm.
With them for 2 years before we broke away. And it wasn't anything ugly. It's just as things happen, as you grow and you learn, you kind of break away.
We kind of decided we wanted to go back to doing things on our own.
Yeah.
And
Well, we evolved in our spirituality.
and in our marriage.
Yeah.
It was like that's what I was getting at. Like that's how for us it intertwines because when we broke off as a couple, we dove into this thing together, united without anyone on the outside. And that was a really awesome experience also. That was just a great part. Or for me, it was. It was awesome.
It really was. And
it was like tag team.
With 2 minutes to go before break.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of finish up this portion of it.
Okay.
I know for me, within those 2 years of actually being on a team aspect, that I was like a kid in the ball pit reaching for every ball. But instead of ball, it was mentors and teachers and people inside the paranormal field that were well known.
Yeah.
Or they had books out. They were authors. They were this, that, and the other.
You were starving for everything.
I was absolutely starving. And I'm still starving now. But I had to learn how to
step back. Can't be obsessed.
And with that, we're going to go to our first break. We are at the bottom of the hour. So we're going to go to break, and we will be back very soon.
Certified psychic medium Stephanie Lynn creates an authentic connection between the living and the spirit world. Stephanie knows she is here to help heal, educate, and provide validation that there is more after death, and allows herself to be a conduit and work as a team with spirit to pass on messages from their world to ours. Stephanie Lynn also works as a spiritual life coach to help you achieve, create, and manifest your best self and life. Looking for help communicating with an animal? Searching for a past life regression therapist? Or dealing with a paranormal experience? Stephanie Lynn is here to help. For a list of full services, visit her on Facebook under Stephanie Lynn Spirit Sensitive. That's Stephanie Lynn Spirit Sensitive.
Welcome back, Murder. If you just missed the first half of this, you're going to want to go back and watch whenever we get done.
Yes.
Basically, we were just going about how we got involved in the paranormal. We talked a little bit about things that we learned about each other, our first team that we were with.
Yep.
And then we kind of slid into when we officially became Southern Ascension, when we broke out and started doing our own thing, which was super scary, but super fun.
We were really nervous.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. To think that we thought we really knew what we were doing.
Looking back.
Whoo, man, we didn't know what we were doing.
And we went off a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like
We did.
there was
We did.
no breaks. It was all
So,
gas.
See, in 2019 is when we created Southern Ascension.
2018.
2018?
No, 2019.
Is 2019 because we got married in 2018.
That's right. You are correct.
So in 2019 is when we officially created Southern Ascension, which is our supernatural team that we still have today. Is mainly myself and Allisa. We have Allisa as an investigator. We also have a case manager, Brandy, and a slew of affiliates that help us along the way. We also have a...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm getting to it. Do you want to announce it?
We have a sister team.
We do. We have a sister team up in Ohio called Northern Ascension Paranormal.
Yes.
One of which of the members is actually in the chat room, Dawn.
Dawn.
And her husband, Brian.
Yes.
And we also have Meg and Kev. Great thing. So we started Southern Ascension in 2019. Really off the whim. We did not have an idea of what we wanted to do. We just knew that we wanted it to just be us. And it stayed us for the first 2 years.
Yes.
Year and a half, 2 years.
Yes.
It was only us. And we learned a lot. Our main focus though was we wanted to learn.
And we jumped into clients.
Yeah, we jumped into clients super duper quick.
In my opinion, we did it too quick because it was so much. And I don't think we expected. I know I didn't.
Well, to kind of paint the picture for the audience because they don't know.
Right.
When we first broke into Southern Ascension, I know you had 4 different mentors for astral traveling, your mediumship, Reiki, and
there's another one.
Dream walking.
Yeah.
Dream walking.
Yes.
And with me, I just had somebody trying to help me with astral traveling. I had somebody that was trying to help me with dream interpretations because that was my thing. And I was delved a little bit into the cryptids at first, but not very much. Fae folk was my thing.
We had a client with that.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Fae folk was my thing. I really was interested in learning different elementals. But we did learning all of this in that first year. All the mentors, all the people we had. Then we delved into the clients. And the way that we wanted to deal with clients was much different than what...
Kev, one of the members of Northern Ascension, is in the chat room.
Yeah,
Also,
Kev and Meg are watching as well. Hello.
Hello.
When we started diving into clients, we wanted to work differently than how we were taught originally. Whereas we were very... Now I can say it looking back. We were very arrogant in what we thought was our big knowledge and what we could do. We were very arrogant.
We were babies.
We took on a lot of cases that, although they ended well, we still shouldn't have tackled them because they drained us so much.
I did, but it was a lot. I don't regret it.
I don't regret
it was very well
saying,
lesson learned.
Don't follow in our footsteps.
Yeah, no.
Don't take on those cases that
No.
most people run from when you are still very fresh to this.
Right.
I remember one of our clients that we got, the very first one by ourselves, was the Fae folk. We were with the other team, but it was right before
we were getting ready to break away. Yeah.
And this client came to me, and he was a Marine.
Let's paint the picture again, guys. You got to remember we live in small town.
We live in small Podunk, Mississippi.
Yes.
I had a Marine that reached out to me. He's like, look, there's something going on. I don't believe in all that ghosty stuff, but there's something going on that I don't know what's going on. Now, at this particular time, I was interested in fae folk, but never actually dealt with fae folks. I really didn't know what I was working with.
Well, we had a little bit of knowledge of
a
them.
little bit, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about identifying. I didn't know how to identify or deal with them. I knew how to banish them,
Mhm.
but not how to, are you seely, unseely?
Right. I'm with you.
What are you?
Oh, I remember that out very well.
And I remember I went and talked to the guy, and he was telling me everything that was going on. I kept getting this weird feeling. And at this time, we were a part of a globally
astral
traveling team. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what they did. So I reached out to them, and I'm like, this is our case. I kind of need you guys up and around astrally just in case things go wonky.
Yeah.
Well, me and Allisa, we head to this house, and as soon as we get into the drive, and it's a long driveway. As soon as we pull onto the driveway, we can see his front porch light starting to strobe.
I
And
started laughing.
the closer we got, the harder that it strobed.
Mm-hmm. And then we got inside the house, and his lights were doing it inside his house.
Yeah, like all the lights were doing it.
It was nuts.
So way over our head. It had a happy ending nonetheless.
Yes.
But still way over our head.
We had to work a lot harder, I think, to get happy endings with clients then, because we had bit off so much. It was not a go in and stay for an hour or two kind of case. Like the first couple of clients we had just weren't like that, because we bit off more than we could chew.
Yeah.
So we had to put in a lot of work.
We did.
To get to help them.
It was
not
one of
an
those
easy thing.
that karma was earned.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Was earned.
That crow was bitter.
It was very, very bitter.
It was bitter.
But we decided after that one to truly buckle down. And I mean, we bought books. We had you paid to take some courses.
I sure did.
And we just decided that's where we failed. We learned where we failed, and we built up on it.
Yes.
And we ended up, our page originally started booming because we went about it the wrong way.
We did.
And that can be a topic, but just blatantly, we were showboating.
We were
showboating because we were getting some really awesome clients. We were getting some fantastic evidence. Your mediumship was just starting out, so your energy was everywhere, and it was completely uncontained.
It was.
But we showboated a lot, and with showboating and offering free readings and free tarot cards, and we decided it was going to be a great idea to do free loved one readings and work with the police and do.
We did
a lot,
everything
all at once, to where I'm grateful for it. I am. I'm grateful for that time, but I'm also a little angry at that time as well, because during that time, yes, we had a lot of clients. We helped a lot of people.
We did.
We had a slew of people that wanted to interview us. We were doing at least 2 podcasts, sometimes 3 a week for a year consistently.
Yep.
We got 10 phone calls a day of you to do a reading or to pull a card.
Between messages, emails, texts, and phone calls, it never stopped. And I quickly realized that I was in way over my head. I could not, it was too much, because at this time, we were parents.
Yeah.
We are a couple.
Yeah.
We both had full-time jobs. I was looking at going back to actual school.
Yep.
And then you throw all of this madness into it. And it wasn't that we weren't grateful, because I don't want to seem like we weren't, because we were.
Because at the time we were like,
yeah.
But I mean, that's just how we were.
I quickly crashed, and it was just, it was just so much.
Well, to back up a little bit on it, a lot of things that people don't understand is, yes, when you get into the paranormal, you are super excited. You want to do anything and everything and get involved. You want to be the best of the best. I'm not saying, yes, there are some teams out there and some individuals that they want to be on TV. They want to be famous. They want to have their own YouTube channel and stuff like that. We did not want to do that. We did not want to be on TV. We did not want to be famous. We wanted to be
helpful.
Wanted.
Yeah.
We wanted to be wanted, to be needed.
Yep.
To the point where we were stupidly arrogant. stupidly arrogant, and really just I lost the word. Can you help me out here?
Arrogant and boast. No, we weren't really.
Not relentless, but I don't know.
It was a
Anyways,
madhouse. Like
it was,
that's
it was
just the way-
chaotic.
was
We lived
nuts.
in a state of chaos 24/7.
And inside of that, we're still parents
we're still married,
and
working.
employees.
Yeah,
Like shit's nuts, bro.
it
It's
was
nuts.
it was a lot to where it consumed us, and that's where this show comes in, because we are going to talk a lot about those times and what we went through, because we understand when you first get in this how excited you are to learn. I mean, you have just an unquenchable thirst, and
which is amazing.
Yeah, but you have to be mature about what information you allow in your body, because ding ding ding, firsthand, we have both been taught some pretty crappy knowledge that we took to the bank instead of, I love using this term. Instead of reading from the whole library, we just read that one book. And now we read to the whole library. Like we read in the whole library. It's my favorite.
I'm gonna start using that.
Are you gonna steal it?
Yes.
I've been saying it.
Cap stole it.
We were very much those one book people, and now we're stretched out to the library. And to me, I just take the common denominator. Yeah. And that's my truth. Same my here. Truth, not saying it's truth. Just
that's what you lead with.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Same.
Yeah. And going back, to stay on this topic for just a quick second, I don't believe that people understand when you are a married couple, even though when you have a marriage like us, we were best friends before we started dating and before we got married.
Yes.
I mean, we were best friends.
Yes.
Being in the paranormal and doing investigations with your friends it's hard as it is, because you can have a bad investigation and you guys argue, and that's just it. Like, it just leaves a nasty taste in your mouth.
Right, but they go to their house and you go to yours.
Right, you separate. Whereas as a married couple,
you're going home together.
You're going home together, and it is one of those where you have to learn how to deal with it, and it took us a long time.
Yeah.
Because we had to learn how to, when we were hustling and bustling and having all these clients and doing all these shows, I would get upset if you didn't want to do a show, and I'm like, well, it's already booked. We have to do it.
Right.
Or if a client reached out to me saying that they had, and I'm literally we've had emails like this. I got a demon at my house. Listen, we got to go. They think they got a demon. I don't believe in demons, but apparently they got something that's really horrible. We got to go help. It was where I was craving to help people.
I had started to crash.
You had started to crash and draw back, which caused more turmoil within our marriage and the people that we were involved with in the paranormal.
Yeah.
Because at this particular time frame, this was 2020.
Pre-COVID.
2020, 2021.
Yeah, pre-COVID is when that, the winter.
Yeah.
When COVID, before COVID made it to the U.S. that we knew of. It was before lockdown. I had started a new job that year.
So that'd be the end of 2019, beginning of 2020 then.
And shit was wild for 3 months, and I was just exhausted. And I couldn't explain to you, to get you to understand how I felt, because you didn't see and feel the things that I did. And so that filtered into our marriage, because I couldn't get you to understand, because to you, we have this, why don't you want to use it to go help? It wasn't that I didn't want to help, which now we can talk about it and it's okay. But at the time it was nuts. I couldn't get him to, I was just there was nothing left in me to give to anybody. Not even our child, not even you. I was just exhausted, and you were still plugged in and ready to go. And it was just yes, we gotta go help them.
And that's, I was some more topics we're going to talk about. When you have a team dynamic, or even when you're married, everybody's different. Everybody has their own personality, their own way that they deal with things.
Right.
And how, we'll do a show on, kind of how to walk around those boundaries without being, I don't know if I can say that.
What?
I'm going to say it, douche canoe. Without being a jerk, okay?
Yeah, without being a jerk and stepping on
Without being a
someone's
jerk.
feelings.
Yeah, so do you want to kind of ride through this? Because we just were talking about, how your gifts were at its peak and you're starting to crash.
Mhm.
You want to talk about like some of your gifts during this time that you have currently, that you developed so that they know
Since
who you are?
2020, since I
mean, just in general,
crashed and
just
burned and then
tell
arose
them
like a
people right
phoenix.
there. Tell them what your gifts are. They want to know so bad. What are you?
I am Allisa. Like I am
What makes Allisa Allisa?
Fairy dust, a little bit of swamp water,
A little bit of whiskey.
Yeah, a little bit of fire. I don't know how to
Okay,
to
so
start
you
that.
told everybody about your great great grandmother warning your parents that you were going to be gifted.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to touch you with her gifts, or she
Yes.
was going to give you her gifts.
No. She never said she passed them down. She just said I had them. It was never a. I give you
gifts? Tell them beautiful people that are watching right now that tuned in that we are so grateful for. What you do?
Well, I don't currently do a lot of them because I am at a different phase in my life and inside of my mediumship, and things have shifted and changed for me, and I'm having to go to a new level and learn things at a new level. So that's wild, but it's still the same concept of things.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of dream walking, and then I took, like you said, multiple classes because at first it terrified me. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I was being super disrespectful.
Yeah.
Like it was just a wild thing.
Can you just real quick, because some people may not know what dream walking is.
Okay.
Just like a quick version of it.
I would accidentally get into someone's subconscious, and it wasn't intentional. For a long time, it was not intentional at all. It would just happen, and there was nothing I could do about it. And I would see things that I didn't want to see.
Can I tell them how we found out you could dream walk?
Yeah.
Can I tell a Walmart story?
Yes.
Okay, so this is how we found, just real quick. I promise this is worth it. Worth the interjection, okay? The way that we found out that Allisa could dream walk was she was going to Walmart to do grocery shopping, as she does, because Caden don't do.
Because we're married. I'm a wife and a mother.
Yeah. So she was in the makeup section.
Yes.
Okay. She was in the makeup section and she was looking at makeup, and there was a lady that walked up next to her, not interacting or anything, but just standing there. And Allisa was looking at makeup and she hears, "Oh, those are cute shoes." And it sounded like the lady next to her, and she just kind of looked over, and the lady was indeed staring at Alyssa's shoes. And Allisa, "Oh, thank you. I got them at so-and-so and so-and-so. They were this much dollars."
Yep.
And just smiling away. And the lady was petrified. The fear in her eyes, Allisa said.
Our child was with me for this.
Yes, Asher was.
It was wild.
But this lady was completely petrified.
She looked like she had seen, I don't even know.
Just a demon, the devil.
Center Earth had opened up and there was fire down there, and it was looking at her. Like that's what she looked like. She was scared
wasn't until
to death.
Asher said, "No." How did you realize that she didn't actually say
her
something?
face? Like I realized it by the terror on her face.
And you had asked her, did you not just say something
well, when
about
she
my
looked
shoes?
Scared, I asked, and she literally just like walked off, and so did I. I left everything in my buggy.
I just remember
I was crying. And
I just read this lady's mind, and I don't know what happened, but she thinks that I'm the devil, and I can never go back to this Walmart ever again.
I was like, we have to go to the next town over to go to the Walmart. I'm not going back to the grocery store here. It's not happening.
We ended up having to call your mentor, Donna, at that time. We ended up having to call Donna. We told Donna what was going on.
She laughed.
And
at first.
she did. You
You
guys did your little classes of meditation, and that's how you realized you could dream walk. So
it took me a really long time to control it, and I hated it. Yeah. Caden wanted me to try like more and more, and I absolutely hated it. But I'm also someone who is really big on trying to respect people's boundaries, no matter what they are. Yeah. And even with you, I was very uncomfortable, and I was vocal about it. Like I hated it. I have not done it in a year and a half now.
Yeah, almost 2.
Yeah, almost 2. It just felt like I was invading someone's privacy. until I joined another class with another mentor that Donna, the one that we mentioned, set me up with. And this lady was teaching how you could help people with certain things in their life, like stutters and tics, almost like people that go to hypnotherapy. So when you dream walk, you can enter the subconscious and sometimes the conscious mind, but most of the work's done in the subconscious mind.
Okay.
And there's different areas in your brain, but the issue I had with it so bad was that's the one thing that nobody can see except for you.
Yeah.
That's the one thing on you that nobody can see into. So what if I accidentally open this box and that's something that they didn't want anybody to know? Like, that was a big deal to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Like, it bothered me morally, probably more than anything I had ever been able to do. Like, it just made me super uncomfortable. And then Caden was like, "This is awesome. We can do this to help people." And I was like, yeah we could, but I'm scared.
Yeah.
So that's how we learned about dream walking.
Reading auras was the first thing.
Old South Pittsburgh, and that freaked me out too, because I was like, what is this? What is this? And the mentor I had at the time, I had been working with for a couple of months, and she also chuckled, because I guess my personality is just like that. But when I get freaked out, I'm really dramatic. And I was...
Your eyes get like...
Oh, they're big anyway.
What is that?
Like,
What is that?
Well, I kept seeing things, and I wear contacts and glasses. And so I kept asking Caden on the way to where we were going. I was like, "Do you see that? Is it foggy? Does that look like this? Does that look like that?" He was like, "No, Allisa, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?" So we get there, and I'm talking to my mentor at the time that I had, and she's chuckling, and she's like, "You're seeing auras. What do you feel? What do you smell?" Like, she went on this whole thing, and I was able to do that. And once again, it was something that I just did not enjoy doing. Like, it was just not my favorite thing.
And then you learned how to astral travel, trying to help me, because that was supposed to be my thing.
Yeah.
Listen, okay.
Sitting in the living room.
Yep. I had been trying to take this, learn how to astral travel for, I don't know, 3 weeks at this time.
You had joined the class.
Yeah, I had joined the class.
Month prior.
I wanted to astral so freaking bad. And because I just thought it was cool. Well, I was like, I couldn't figure out how to meditate for me, because I am like ADHD, just cannot chill. There's always a million TVs going on at once.
Same, bro. Ours is just different.
Just different.
High five on the TV room.
Yeah. So I could not meditate and just get myself into the state that I needed to be.
You really did struggle with that.
I did. And I still struggle today.
And you asked me to dream walk on you in your subconscious to clear it.
Well, I asked you to do that first, and it didn't help. And then I was like, okay, will you meditate with me? Mm-hmm. Hold my hand. That way, maybe it just kind of calms me down.
Yeah.
And I remember, y'all, you just have to know our relationship, okay?
And you will. Stick around.
And you will. We had candles going, all the lights out. I'm sitting on the couch. She's sitting next to me. This time, she does not know how to astral travel, okay?
Never done it. Not that I knew of. Had never done it.
This was before everything. And then I'm sitting there trying to astral, like just meditate astral, and nothing happened. And I would probably sat there for 15 minutes. And I finally just like, screw it, Allisa, it's not working. She didn't answer me. And I'm like, the hell? I'm like, hello. Hello. Like, I thought she fell asleep. So I'm like, peeky boo.
You gave me a wet willy.
I did.
Or you said you did?
Gave her a wet willy. And she came through and she was like, telling me what she's seen and what she felt. And I just remember just like being like, you know what, buddy? Middle fingers. How is it? I said, it would be my luck that me trying to astral travel
got you to astral
you're not
travel.
even interested in astral traveling, and you try to help me, and you're the one that can astral travel. Here we are 6 years later. Here we are 6 years later. And Allisa is a phenomenal astral traveler that we will talk about on a completely different day, because astral traveling will be multiple topics.
Yeah.
We're going to bring in some of the old crew. We're going to bring in some past clients.
By old crew, these are folks that I've worked with for going on 5 years. 5 to 6 years. 7 years. It's been a long time.
But yeah, where was I going with that?
I have
See?
no idea, dude.
Any
ADD.
hootie. I don't know where I was going.
I don't either.
We
But
were talking about astral traveling.
we were, and we will cover that in this.
Oh, yeah. We will cover that again or in a full segment.
This whole conversation was about how fast we were going.
Well, no, we're talking about your gifts.
Right, but I'm saying like
All right, so we
we've
got your
done
astral traveling down. We got your
three-
sleepwalking down
and auras.
and auras.
Yes, and then
we've covered you know, being able to talk to the deceased.
I did that for a long time. I never charged anybody for it. I haven't had a client like that in a year and a half. No, a year. It's only been a year because I had one last summer. Not this past summer, but the one before that was the last one I had. And then I just told people because I've had so much happen in a year and a half in my life. I was not in a headspace to be helping anybody because I was trying to help myself. But I did recommend them to phenomenal mediums that I knew. But that was actually one of my favorite things out of all of the things, like because I've been very vocal.
Past loved ones.
Yes,
doing the past loved one readings.
In certain circumstances, and she's not commenting in this chat room, but there is one that I've done that it's just so funny to me, and I'm gonna tell them about it. I did
don't
one.
Even know what's about to come out your mouth.
Yes, you do. I did one for someone, and they had a specific loved one in mind that they really, really wanted to come forward. Right. Someone that was really close to them, and it was a very quick death. It was just, there was a lot of things that were left unsaid in that friendship. And so I connect with him, and her grandfather was also there, and her friend, remember this? Oh, this is when a lot of my beliefs changed because of the way that this worked. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So in this reading with this girl, she had, like I said, a friend, very close friend, very sudden death. It was very tragic. A lot of things left unsaid. He was around her age. And at this time, she was in her early 20s when I done this. This was years ago.
Yeah.
And her grandfather had passed a year prior to that accident. And so this young man, is forward and present. And I have this connection with him, but he wouldn't speak to me. And I could not understand why. And I was beginning to get frustrated. And I was calling on my guides, like, tell me what's going on. It's there, but he won't speak to me what's happening. Because at this point, this had never happened to me, right? So I was really confused. And then I have this girl, like, hello, what's happening? He was being respectful and would not come forward and speak to me first until her grandfather came forward and said what he needed to say to her. And I get emotional talking about it because my beliefs changed so much with that reading.
That was a very pivotal
moment. Like it was a big deal because that's when I had always believed that in that realm, spirit had control of what they done, and they could be good, they could be bad. Just that's a whole nother topic, but that was a very pivotal point in my path and my belief system, because this man was showing respect to this man because he was his elder,
right? And
it was just a really phenomenal thing. And I learned then that spirit can respect one another, and it was awesome. It was really, really awesome. And her grandfather did come forward and tell her what he needed to tell her, which was also really cool because it was some it wasn't like a language, but it was names and stuff that they had for each other. And when he was done, the young man came forward and he told her what he needed her to know, and she asked what she needed to ask. And by the end of that reading, I was so shook because of what happened. It was an amazing experience. And anytime that I've done loved one readings, it was this is going to sound selfish, but it was very fulfilling to me. It was giving someone something that they needed was one of the best feelings ever, because they couldn't get it anywhere else. Right. You can't go to the doctor and get a prescription to hear what you need to hear. So helping them in the worst time of their life was one of my favorite things. That was one of my favorite abilities ever. It's just super draining. It is so draining.
You dabbled in tarot cards.
I did.
For a while.
I did. They were not my favorite.
Really? Because they used to be. your
Well, no, the
favorite.
oracle cards were my favorite.
No, the tarot was your favorite, then the oracle
No,
cards
no,
were
no,
not.
no. Mm-mm. It was always the
Vice
oracle.
versa?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
okay.
backwards. I
Vice-
dabbled in
vice
tarot,
versa.
and I don't know if it's just because I got little hands, y'all, but the tarot cards just are not made for me. Like they are
Yeah.
just not. They're not my thing. I've tried
I
and
get it.
I can't connect with them like I can like my moon cards. I don't
Okay.
really do the angel thing, but like my moon cards and numbers and
Yeah.
things like that. I can do tarot cards. They're just not necessarily my favorite, but I can do them.
Okay. So let's fast forward.
There she is.
Yeah.
I see you.
So let's kind of fast forward because we are at top
No-
of the hour
Yes,
for us.
we are. Top of the hour.
Top of the hour for us. Let's fast forward to what we are now, because I
Hmm.
think it's important for you guys to understand. You heard about where we kind of came from, and all these we will talk about more.
We really
You just
will.
have to keep up with the show, because I'm
Yes,
telling
you
you, you never know what you're going to get.
Our
Really
next
and truthfully.
our shows after this will be on specific topics.
yeah.
And we do have in a little while several guests that I'm so stoked
I
about.
am too.
I'm so
I am too.
excited.
Like
So
I said,
excited.
this live is just for you guys to kind of get a little
It is an introduction.
introduction to us.
To
You get to
Twisted
see how
Ascension.
goofy we are. You can ask anybody that is watching, Megan, Kev, Callie, Dawn. You can, whoever else in here that knows us personally. We
Yes.
are like this.
Hi, Wendy
Hello.
from Kansas City.
We are like this in person. We're just this redneck and just as comical in real
It's
life.
just who we are. But if you you will get a glimpse into the things that we've both personally been
Mhm.
through and the things we've been through as a couple. And, there are a lot of spiritual things that
Mhm.
connect us.
Yeah.
And I
That we've learned a
will
lot over the
very
years.
vulnerably and rawly say, if it weren't for those things, there are several things we've been through. I'm not sure we would have made it through.
Sure.
There's chords, there's
Yeah.
reasons.
There's a lot of stuff, and that's the one topic that I'm excited to talk about, or the addiction side of this, the soul connection side of
Mhm.
this. Of course, I'm into the crafts,
Yes.
side of things. So when it
I'm
comes
learning.
to protection spells, protection work, salts, making your own black salts, making your own different things, like that's where I enjoy doing stuff at.
Yes.
But the soul connection part, and I also do a guided cord cutting sessions, which I will do one of those on one of our shows.
Yeah.
And your passions lie within the family part of it, the addiction part as well. How people forget how much addiction can play a role into the paranormal and into when you're investigating. And those are topics I'm stoked about.
Someone with abilities.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about that in recovery.
Yeah.
And it's nuts to me because even though I've been
Do
this
you
way
need
my
a pillow?
Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Even though I've been this way my whole life, until the last 2 years of my life, I
Mhm.
didn't understand, which I think is part of the reason I went through what I went through. And I won't deny it. Still growing and flowing over here, and we're trying. But I didn't realize how much addiction can play and sneak in like a snake with people who have abilities. Teenagers, like it bothers my soul because I just want to help them all.
Just kind of like what we've been kind of goofy and stuff this show. We are goofy people, but we do talk about some very serious topics.
Yes,
and addiction is one that we are both very passionate for different reasons.
For sure.
I thought
I find myself.
Boom.
Got it.
Addiction is one of those that it touches us both in different ways for completely different reasons.
It touches us personally, and then individually.
Yeah. And dealing with attachments, spiritual attachments. That is another doozy that most people don't talk about. I mean, it's not, your friends got an attachment and they went and got it took care of. Cool. What if your wife or what if your husband has one and you don't know for months and you're having to deal with the bullshit that happens in between there. I mean, it's
done
a
that.
lot. It's a
We've
lot.
done that.
And so those are the topics that we're going to talk about as well.
Yes.
And just because, all right, we're at the top of the hour, we got another, let me do math, 25 minutes
Okay.
before we take our last break.
So
let's dive into who we are now.
All right.
Who we are and what we believe in now.
Okay.
You want to go? Me go? Ladies first is what I say, but if you're uncomfortable.
So at this point,
yes.
We go and we have clients. We have another thing going on in a hometown. And with that, I'm building in this new phase that I'm in with my mediumship. Things are just different and I'm having to work a little harder, but that's okay. But we don't do a lot of things that we used to do. We've slowed down a lot. And being like with the show, this is kind of where we're at and what we want to do. We have a client tomorrow. I mean, we still have things going on.
What are your beliefs right now?
My beliefs are ever changing, which I am very vocal about that too. I believe, I don't know if I need to talk about all that just yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well, no, let's just talk about what your beliefs with the paranormal are right now. What are your what tickles your fancy right now?
What tickles my fancy is spirits who are eager to talk.
Okay.
And by that I mean I want to know. I'm kind of like
want
you.
Some chatty Cathy's.
Yes, I want to know what your favorite perfume was and what lipstick you wore. Yeah. I want to know what kind of music you listened to, what your hobbies were. Like those are the types of things that I'm enjoying. And we have a specific place that we are working with where I get to dive into that without being pressured with time, which has been great for me. Yeah. I love that. Like kind of come and go as I want and work on that for me. And that's changed my beliefs some because of the things that have happened there.
Yeah.
Some of the things that have happened in my life in a year and a half have changed my beliefs. I had an attachment that I was unaware of. And if you would have asked me 2 years ago if that could happen to me, I would have laughed in your face and told you, no, there's no way. But it did.
Yeah.
And it took one of my old school mentors finding it, telling us about it, and you had to come up with a way to get rid of it. And it was a very rough experience. And it's been a year and a half, and I still am not over the fact that that was in me, and I didn't know it. It bothers me to this day. I'm just not over that at all, and that's kind of made me put up a wall. But I'm working on it.
Hey, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
And if any of you guys watching have questions, please feel free to ask.
For sure. Especially like after the break. Think of them during the break.
Yeah, we got about 15 minutes after the break. 15 to 20 minutes after the break, where we will do nothing but just answer questions. So go ahead and start, typing them out now, or we'll answer in between.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
It's okay.
The use of crystals and herbs and palo.
I love the use of herbs. I'm not a big sage fan. I love Palo Santo. Crystals I use only with intentions. It's not something I do every day. I used to. It's just not my thing. Yes.
Used to have I almost had a rock full of pockets. But
I'm really big. Everybody use manifestations as in putting things into your life. I'm really big on manifestations of my energy and what's protecting me. I'm not a religious person at all. I don't believe in those things. I don't think they're wrong. I don't think they're right. I kind of believe that everything mixes together. I know for a fact that there are things with us because I've seen them, I've talked to them, I've dealt with them. I know that you can create things. That's why I say my beliefs are ever changing because every time we run into something we've never ran into, they change. Yeah. How could they not? So, like, I do believe that you can manifest something that's negative. I believe that there can be man-made things.
Do you believe in demons?
Not necessarily what most people call demons. I do believe that there are levels of negative energy, but I don't believe that there's one big monster that has other monsters working for him, and it just goes back like the biblical thing of demons.
You don't believe in biblical demons?
No. I do believe in the pyramid, though, that's similar to the biblical
Like
demons.
the hierarchy.
Yes, but
Okay.
I don't believe that it works the way that
I mean,
biblically
clearly
it's-
you believe in pseudosciences when
Yes.
it entails sleepwalking,
Yes.
Psychic abilities, mediumship, things of that nature. And Liz, we're in Northeast Mississippi.
Yes. PK manifestations.
Yeah, that kind of goes back into the like psychokinesis.
Mhm.
Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic?
I believe in craft magic, if
Craft.
that's what you want to call it.
Not physical, but it goes back to the manifestation
Thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like it all loops together for me.
Okay.
Which is pretty weird. Which is another reason I'm so excited about this show, because our beliefs are so different.
Mm-hmm.
Your spiritual path turned into something way more.
Yeah.
And I'm learning about it because I want to be respectful of it, because I think it's awesome. It's just not my thing. Mine is more spiritual and indigenous.
Yeah, yours is very, very rooted into the indigenous side of you.
Yes.
What about cryptids, fays?
I believe in them because we've had cases with them. Like, I can't deny that they're real.
Yeah.
I'm not as into them as you are. Like, I do not have the eagerness to go climbing rocks looking for them. I just do not. If I had a private, my thing about it is like I want to learn about them, because if we have a private client and that's what it's about, or we get the chance to go somewhere and investigate where that's, what's going on, I want to have enough knowledge about it. But I'm just not as eager as you to just go like tromping through the woods,
Aliens.
Oh, it makes me so sad because it makes me think of Alta.
Yeah.
But I am a very big believer in aliens because I have seen certain ones in my astral traveling times. And
I have like just a whole one day, like a whole segment on just you and whoever else talking about the things that you battled in astral.
Whew, I don't know.
I think that they would love it. Wouldn't you
think-
guys love it? give this live a love and a like. I want to see them going. If you guys would like to hear that, because those are some pretty awesome topics. Or stories, excuse me, rather.
I'm trying to read. I can't see. I've
have
astral traveled as well. Liz, that's awesome. Was it intentional or unintentional?
Well, some other things. Who are you now? Like, what are you focused on right now?
I am focused on maintaining what I have and not crashing.
Okay.
Like, I am inching in water with my abilities. The older I get, the more things change. And I used to get angry about it, and now it makes me happy.
Yeah.
I had a really big experience about a month and a half ago that showed me that I was doing what I was supposed to do.
I thought I had a drink. Let me have some of yours, please.
And that shifted some things for me a lot. And so now I'm being patient and waiting my turn.
Okay.
And I'm excited to start working publicly.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just waiting for
There's
the
not
right.
the way that I am.
No. Well, no, some of it I am. I'm just waiting for the right time in my personal life to do that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And I haven't been excited about it in a really long time. So I am excited.
You're getting emotional,
about it.
so I know that you are getting
Yes.
excited about it.
But it's all about patience. And I'm learning those things because I've never had
Let me
them.
tell you guys two things about Allisa. Okay. She's going to cry on every show. It's either going to be, or she's going to tear up every show. It's either going to be tears of joy or tears of sadness. It's going to be one of the two. You might as well get ready, because if you pop in and Alyssa's crying, you just need to stick around for a little bit to figure out which one it is. But it's going to happen.
It is.
You just get plumb tickled and you start.
I do. I cry every time I laugh. I laugh a lot.
You do. We try to. We're getting back to that, which is another topic, when we're going to have like the paranormal supernatural hue to our show.
Yeah.
But guys, really, this is about marriage and friendships and family
And real life shit.
and real life shit that, when you're in the paranormal field as investigators or as whatever that you
Yes.
may deal with, because it's not always the good kind of dark and shadowy. Sometimes it really is personal darkness and shadow work, and it gets ugly.
See, that's another thing. As someone who I taught classes,
Yeah,
and
you
taught people, I taught people how to do shadow work.
Yeah.
And then I went through a phase in my life where it was time for me to do it again.
Yeah.
And it has been rough.
And I don't want. Oh, sorry. I told Mr. Todd that I was, lyrics about talking about some of the things that we have done in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot, and it does seem boastful. And we are very honest. We were very boastful when we first got in this.
Were.
We just need you guys to understand how we operate now. You do kind of have to understand where our mindset was back then and where our mindset is now, which will take you down some very uncomfortable stories and roads that we took. But if you are somebody that just got in the paranormal or you're just interested, these are things that I feel like everybody needs to listen to and needs to know, so they don't make the same mistakes as us,
Yeah, I would hate to watch anybody go through some of the things that we went through.
Yeah. Listen, we did it for you, so you don't have to, okay?
Right?
Just kind of listen a little bit.
We got the scars. You don't want them.
So we have a little less than 15 minutes before we go to break.
So with that 15 minutes, do you want to explain you and your beliefs?
My name is Caden. I love outdoors. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
You're
my
really
name is
not, though.
I'm really not. My name is Caden. I love the outdoors.
Indeed.
I've always been an outdoorsy person. I have always been interested in cryptids. I remember I was raised Christian. I remember being in church, and I would always stick little index cards in my Bible, and I would draw on those, and I would draw vampires and werewolves and monsters, mythical creatures, and I would get smacked senseless by my mom. I love you, Mom. If you are listening, I'm sorry. I love you, but I love that. I've always been fascinated with the more darker side of things, and not in a Nancy off the craft type of way.
That's a good analogy.
It
That
is.
was great.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Not in a Nancy off the craft type of way. I have been.
My nose was running.
I'm sorry. You better catch it.
It's because that was good. That was good. You done made me sit here and talk about all kinds of stuff that got me emotional.
I feel like my purpose in the spiritual side of things is more of the protector and more of the rescuer.
For sure.
I feel like I'm the person that is meant to walk in the shadows because I can relate to the shadows. And when I mean about shadows, I mean like the void, the darker side of things, the more malevolent. Perfect
thing to link into what we talked about earlier about our marriage.
Yeah.
I don't do that. You do that, and I walk in light.
Yeah.
And it
flip-flopped. The older we got, we kind of flip-flop. Where I walk more in the shadows. I am very intrigued with dark things, but like I said, not in the Nancy kind of way. I want to understand how it works and why it affects people the way that it does compared to loved ones, affecting people the way that they do. I want to understand the difference between why we're always taught that love trumps everything, and love is a very high vibrating sense. And love is a very powerful protection. But why is it that this low vibration is able to physically affect more?
We've had that conversation so many times.
That's where I come in at. I already said I believe in aliens. I have never seen an actual extraterrestrial or being, but we have seen UFOs.
And you've seen marks on me from them.
And I've seen marks on Allisa from battling them when she's astral traveled. I'm sorry that I have been saying a lot. I am very sorry about that. I do get more involved with spell work and crafting the older I get. I do not do a whole lot, but like I said, I grew up Christian. I was not allowed to do those things. And then the older I got, I went through a stage where I lost myself.
Mhm.
And I'm still trying to find myself. And I'm mostly, my belief falls into omnism.
Same.
But as of right now, for the past 2 years, I have been very close to my Norse paganism, that is linked to my heritage. So Norse paganism is my thing. You know, I have it tattooed on me. I got if I can dig it out, I got my Mjolnir. You know, a lot of people don't understand it. Hell, I don't understand it.
You just
half
know
the
that it feels
time.
like home.
It feels like home,
Yeah.
and I have been trying to. I've read the sagas. I have listened to so many audiobooks, and it feels like home. Where
You
nothing
learned
else.
the language.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, but that's phenomenal. Pat on the back, bro. It's okay.
I've been taking Norwegian lessons. You know, I can say very little, but it's like on a child, like I can say that, you know, you are a girl and I am a man.
Right. But I mean, it's a dead language. And
it's not dead. Norwegian's not dead.
The one that you're learning is?
No,
I thought you were learning the old.
I was learning Icelandic at first.
Okay.
Because I could not find Elder Folklore.
My mistake. Words are hard.
Words are very difficult. Anyways, yes, I am Norse pagan. I do spell work. I do craft work. I do a lot of banishment things that Allisa does not. I create our own black salts.
Yep.
I work with people. When we deal with clients, we do what's called a post-care package. And depending on your religion, depends on what I give you to cleanse your home and what I tell you to do to cleanse your home. That's one thing I am very proud of us for doing.
Me too.
See, yeah.
I don't. The only craft or magic considered that I would do is I work with the moon a lot.
Yes,
and I have spells for cleansing, actual spells for cleansing.
And I don't know everything, and I don't even know a lot. I'm just doing what
you do though. You're like one big knowledge thing.
I know a little bit about a lot of different stuff, but not a lot about a little bit. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. That works.
Where Allisa taught classes on meditation and mediumship and shadow working, I do more of the soul or cord cutting walks, guided meditation. Excuse me, that was a random hiccup. My God. I don't know why, because I hate my voice, but most people say that they like my voice because they feel protected.
It's protective and calm, and you feel safe. And in a cord cutting, I don't know if anybody that's watching's ever been in a cord cutting session, but if you've ever been in a guided one, it's a thing where someone that's not familiar with it would need to be in a safe place and feel protected and okay, because you're so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you have that capability. Yeah. And you make them feel safe.
I'm glad that I make people feel safe. I do believe in the concept of crystals and stones. I believe that it works similar to religion, that you have to have a belief in them for them to do their job.
Right.
I do not believe that I can just go and find a random stone and it give me peace automatically. Right. I feel like you have to put that manifestation into it.
It's all about intent. So,
I do believe in pseudoscience, but I'm also can be very analytical and science minded when it comes to when we do paranormal investigations. Whereas everybody, they hear a bump, paranormal.
Right.
Me, Kev, are in the corner like, you sure somebody just didn't fart or drop something?
Yeah.
And there's Kevin's more, he is a skeptic believer now. Thanks to me, we have a skeptic believer, not just a skeptic, I believe.
Kim said you definitely have the capability to make people feel safe.
Well, I'm happy for it.
Good job.
I'm happy for it. Go. Yes.
Yes.
We got 5 minutes to go. What else? Is there anything that you guys want to know specifically about us?
You can think about your questions.
And I know that it looks like we are looking everywhere but the camera.
We're working with it.
We are working with it. So we do apologize for sure. Boo Bear got that kind of voice. Oh.
Y'all are cracking me up.
I am right now, currently, I'm more focused on, we both agree to settle down on private clients for a good reason. We do have one tomorrow. We have been working on a project for the past 3-4 years, hardcore with the local town of ours. And it has not had paranormal investigators in it since the early 90s.
Yep.
We finally got our foot in the door. We finally got in there. We're not quite in it to win it like I would like to, but we're in the race nonetheless.
Right.
And we do have access to there basically whenever we want. So I am grateful for that.
It's like one big experiment for me.
Yes, we do public ghost hunts. We did quite a few this year just to test it out, see how it got. Once everything gets available, we will be running events out of it.
Yes.
3 different types of events that you can do, which would be a private investigation. You can rent it out and you and your team can investigate it for, I think we did 8 hours. 8 hours.
Yep.
All by yourself. You can investigate with me and Allisa in a paranormal 101 where we teach you the equipment and our style and what we kind of do if you're new to this or a beginner level. And then the public ghost hunt where it's 15 tickets. You buy a ticket and then we kind of walk you around and set you and let you do whatever you want.
Just, we helped some, like if they needed
just
it.
In the comfort, you have us there as needed. I'm pretty stoked about that. That's the Corinth Coliseum that we're running. I'm pretty happy about that. We have 4 minutes before we go to break. I'm pretty sure that I touched all my belief systems other than I'm hardcore into the bipedal canine.
Oh my gosh. You and our kid both.
I'm into the bipedal canine, not Dogman, although that'd be cool to see him. But Butch Wachowski, before his passing, he was mentoring me over that. And I absolutely love it. Love it. I love it. That's my thing. I love cryptozoology. But with that, I think we're going to go to break. And then when we return,
we will answer questions.
Yep, ask those questions. We will answer, and then we're going to say goodnight.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
If you're a fan of the paranormal world, then you'll love WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Talk shows bringing you the latest on everything paranormal, cryptozoological, metaphysical, true crime, psychic readings, and more. The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.
Hey, welcome back, Murder. This is Caden, and Allisa is on her way back in right now. We are Twisted Ascensions.
I made it.
There she is. If you missed tonight's show, please go back and you can watch after we're done. We are live right now on Twitter, WLTK-DB.com, the WLTK-DB app, the Facebook page, YouTube, Twitch. And then you can always go back on the archives on all those that I listed, or simply just go to Google and type in Twisted Ascensions, which should pop up, and you can listen from the very, very, very beginning.
Yeah.
So we have 15 minutes left of the show because we are going to end a little bit early tonight.
Yes.
I am super excited about our next show.
Yeah.
Who's coming up? Because I mean, the boss man himself, Mr. Todd Bates, his show is next.
Yes.
So in 30 minutes, you guys got to make sure that you tune back in because we have Haunted Voices coming up. Jacob Rice, he's an investigator, he's a host, he's a storyteller. He's going to be on with Mr. Todd. It's going to be a great show.
Mr. Todd is a fantastic host.
Awesome dude.
Yes.
And I've listened to Jacob quite a few times, and man, dude really can tell some stories.
For sure.
I am excited about that show. Okay. So anywho, we're gonna start answering some questions for you guys.
Yeah.
And we have you. You're gonna see us looking up because we have you on the big screen right in behind our camera.
Yes.
So we're just gonna kind of scroll through. If you have questions, nothing is out of bounds, quite literally, except for, don't ask non-paranormal, non-marital type questions.
If it's like rated X, just don't.
Yeah, if it's rated
ask
X, don't ask at all.
So Dawn asks, where do you see yourselves in 5 years from now?
Where do I see myself in 5 years from now?
Ourselves.
Yeah.
If
5
we-
years from now, I would really love for us to be full-time running events
Yeah.
out of not just the Coliseum, but all of Corinth. I would love to be over all of the Corinth haunted history and history itself.
Yes. Like be able to quit our day jobs and do that for a living.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would love to be able to be those people that get invited to like the Paracons to talk about, your
community,
your community, your place, and
Right.
bring in people back to Corinth because I think it's much needed.
Yes.
Liz made a point earlier. She's down in Central Mississippi, and in Central and South Mississippi, there's a lot of locations for people to investigate.
Sure.
In North Mississippi, there's nothing. We have to go to Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky,
I
Ohio.
mean, there is
Texas.
places they're just not known and open.
Yeah,
Like
there's
you kind
hidden
of said it like there
gems,
was
but
nowhere to go. There is.
there's little hidden gems, but there's nothing public that you can just Google search and like, oh,
So
I get that.
I'm with you. My goal for the next 5 years is to put those places on the map,
Mhm.
but I want to do it in a way, kind of like Eddie and them handle theirs. I can't understand the
Oh, yeah,
outrageous
yeah,
prices
yeah.
and stuff. Like I'm not down for that.
Yeah.
I'm down for enough to keep the place up and going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I want to make reasonable price places for people who love this stuff to go to and have a good time.
Right.
Like that's what I want. Eventually, and I'm gonna say for me, for personal stuff in the next 5 years, at a 5-year mark,
Mhm.
I want to be where I have an allotted amount of clients a month, and I am back to doing the things that fulfill me with what I'm able to do.
Yeah.
So like at a 5-year mark, that is my goal personally. I want to be able to set myself a number a month
Mhm.
and be able to book clients for free. I don't want to make a living doing that, but
I feel like if I'm able to, or if we're able to get to that point where we just focus on just the one thing, it sounds selfish, but that will give me more time to work on my cryptozoology side of stuff because I really want to go to Pennsylvania and do the caves like me and Butch talks about.
I know you do.
I want to go, what's it called? Spelunking. That's my jam. I don't know why. I've never splunked officially.
It's such a funky word.
It is. We've investigated a cave,
Oh my gosh,
but it's not like Mammoth Cave, like in Kentucky. Like I want to do those types of cave systems where it just goes nowhere and you don't know what you're going to find. Those, because I want to prove the existence of some of the. I'm such a conspiracy theorist. I love them, and I want to prove why, or see why. You have the lichen loop. I want to know why it's called lichen loop. I want to know what people are seeing. And then within that lichen loop are almost 40 different cave systems within there. I want to go to them. I want to know what it is. I want to know why. I want to have my own experience.
Okay.
For personal reasons.
For personal reasons.
Are there any cryptids or subjects that scare you too much to investigate or delve into? No,
No,
not for me.
not for me either.
Not for me. And it's not an arrogance no before anybody tries to snarl their nose. It is because we were so arrogant when we first got into this, we took on cases we had no business taking on.
And we faced some things that
Yeah.
most people would run from. But we didn't have a choice because we would tell. I mean, we told
Right.
these people we would help them. You're in the moment and you have to figure it out. So
we put ourselves in some very sketchy situations already.
that could
and
have gotten really serious.
That could have gotten really serious. Luckily, it didn't. Our guardians,
yeah,
know,
for sure.
took care of us on then.
Shout out Robert.
God, for real. If I wish that Ozzy Rob was in here.
Me too.
Man. But
He'll be on the show eventually.
I guess the reason why I'm not scared, it's not because I think I'm untouchable. It's I have enough faith in myself.
Mhm.
I have enough faith in my gods. I have enough faith in my gods and goddesses to know that if I'm put myself in a situation,
Mhm.
that it's because internally they know and I know I can deal with it.
Right.
Like they're not going to put something in front of me
That you can't.
that I can't handle.
Right.
And I have busted my ass, and so have you. So have you. We have busted our asses to learn how to protect ourselves,
Mhm.
learn how to protect others, and learn how to deal with certain things, whether it be spiritual, elemental, or extraterrestrial.
Our way, just so some of you that don't know us understand, when he says we busted our asses, our way of busted our asses is literally putting ourselves in situations that
under the
are,
care of more professional people.
Yes, but that are extremely uncomfortable for us. The things that make your body shake and you don't know why. We've made ourselves do those things so that we could figure out how to not do that. Like that, and that goes back to just facing your shit, dude. Like,
well, a big thing that I believe everybody that Northern Ascension will agree. The people that are involved with Southern Ascension, they agree. Can't do that.
I'm sorry.
Will agree is that we tell people to push their boundaries all the time. If you have a limit on what you will or will not do when you are investigating, we want you to push why. Why is that a limitation for you? Not a religious limitation, because I understand those do exist with people. But with me, I have a phobia of basements.
Yes,
or I had a phobia of basements.
You still kind of.
I don't like them, but it's not a phobia so much. I would get into cold sweats and almost be crying. I was so scared of basements. Like I was terrified until the Monroe house.
Mhm.
And now that basement, I could sit in by myself all day long.
Sleep in it.
I pushed my boundaries and I got over those boundaries.
Yep.
And with other different things, we have both pushed boundaries and made ourselves figure out why that's a limitation.
Mm-hmm. I'm like you. I have enough faith in myself and the things that are with me and protect me, and the higher deities that I do believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I'm untouchable, but I know for a fact that there's not anything that I can't make it through.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been through entirely too much shit.
Well, you've seen me attacked
twice. Yes.
Spiritually attacked twice.
You've seen me way more than that.
I have.
Have you ever gotten scared when I was getting attacked? Like, have you ever got nervous or
spiritually attacked? No.
Yeah.
No. And I guess it's because when you are married, as I tend to do, be the protector.
Yes.
Instead of me getting scared, I get mad.
So because I'm your wife.
Yes. So it's more or less like at Monroe House when you were attacked this last time. It was picking at you to get to me.
Uh-huh.
Instead of me getting scared, I got mad and was like, all right, let me put her side. You want some, come get some.
Yeah.
And I challenged it like, if I'm what you want, I'm here. You leave her out of it. But I do that with our son as well. I don't get scared for him if something's going on.
Right.
I get mad because my child is being put, in that situation.
Have you ever gotten nervous?
Like, ever gotten nervous
with me? Like, I'm asking because, like, anybody that's ever been with us and watched us work together,
I have only been nervous twice.
Like you.
Once with you and once with me.
You know me on a level that most people don't understand. So, like, if something's going on with me, you automatically know. So, like, I was just curious if you had ever really just gotten like, oh shit. Like,
I mean, I got nervous when your mediumship abilities
when they went haywire,
first came out, but it was the nervousness of, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to overwhelm yourself. I want you to be careful. It wasn't that I didn't think you could deal with it. It was, shit, if something happens, I don't know what to do. I'm just little old me, just layman and gifted over here. Like,
yeah, but
what am I supposed to do? SWAT in the air?
But you still wanted me to do.
I did, because I knew if you ever put your mind to it, that you would bypass, and I was correct, that you would bypass everybody that we know. And you did.
Yeah.
You did.
I don't know.
Your mentors would tell you that you did.
Yeah, but it was a wild ride. That's all I know to say about that.
It was a much needed thing.
Yeah.
How do I not get scared? Again, I have faith in myself and my abilities and what I can do, to where mentally, for me, being scared does nothing but make me do mistakes, or make me have mistakes, or I will create a mistake.
Fear for me, I've learned the older I got with everything we've done and everything we've been through, both in the paranormal and outside. Fear is fake. It's there if you let it be there. You have to allow it to be there for it to be there.
It's like a manifestation.
Yes.
If you settle on it long enough, it'll physically manifest.
But the thing about that is we're also still human. So like, there are things that you're gonna be afraid of.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the paranormal world that I have fear of. There are things I fear as a mother. There are things I fear as a wife. But
spiritually, you're talking spiritually,
right? Like, there's none. I don't have any.
I don't know. You were a little fearful there, just a smidge with Lilith, just a smidge.
I'm not gonna say I was fearful. I was so shocked.
Overwhelmed, maybe?
Yes, I was so much in shock at what I was seeing. Like, it was like, there's this moment where I was like, holy shit. Like, that's not what I thought this was. That's not what any of us thought this was.
It was one of those, like, you felt that, but then you retracted it. Because I could physically, even though you were in astral, your body that was there, I could see, like, you tense, and then you just relaxed, and that's whenever you started telling me what was going on.
Right.
So even I could tell that there was a spiritual shift.
Right. It was crazy. I'm not gonna say I was scared. I was very shocked. Because that's something you read about in my line of stuff. Like, you read about it, you read about her, you read about all of these things, and there she was. I was like, oh shit. Like, this is really happening right now. It was crazy. And then I realized that she was really pissed off, and this was not going to go very well.
Right.
I had
pissed off at you. It was just in general.
Right. It was just in general. And I had to get my shit together because she was about to get hairy. Like, it was a wild adventure, and it was so shocking.
Well, guys, we are
at
15 minutes till the top of the hour.
Yes.
I have had so much fun tonight.
Me too.
The nerves are working out.
Yes.
We're gonna
get it.
We're gonna get it.
Yes.
We hope that you enjoyed the live, though. We hope that you guys continuously come back show after show, because when I tell you that literally this is just a little edge.
Sorry, the tip of the iceberg.
This is the tip of the iceberg. It's just a little edge of what all we plan on going into.
Yes.
And it's not always going to be us. We are going to bring in
several.
Yeah, several people, like some of our old clients, some of our old mentors, some of our colleagues, people that we idolize.
Yep.
We're bringing
a family member that has, watched this happen from the outside. Like, The police completely different.
Yeah, it is.
So
We're gonna have
I'm
some.
excited.
We'll do some religious talks every now and again. We'll do
Yes.
some cryptid talks, some extraterrestrial talks. We'll do some serial killer talks. We'll have on. We'll
Yes.
get Lorelai on here, and you and her can just
we
geek
will
out
talk
over
about monstrous women,
monstrous women, That sounds
murderous
like a plan.
women,
I love it.
villains.
I love it.
Me too.
Well, guys, that's going to be the end of our show tonight. Make sure that you stick around because in another 15 minutes, Todd is going to be live with Haunted Voices, and he's
Jacob
got Jacob Rice. It's going to be a fantastic show.
Yes.
And just remember, if you just now caught the show, or you're just catching the tail end of it, you can go back and rewatch it. All you have to do is go to WLTK-DB.com or go to the app or just simply Google Twisted Ascensions. And you can rewatch it on all the archives. We are live on Twitter, the website, the app, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, so many other places. I mean, there's an infinite amount.
WLTK-DB. That's a lot.
That's a
I'm
lot.
trying.
It's a tongue twister.
I'm trying.
But we're so grateful. We are stoked about the future.
Yes.
And you know what? I think this is what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
I think so.
High five.
I think this is what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
Anywho, you guys have a great night. God bless you. May the gods be with you.
Love and light.
Love and light. And until next time, be
Bye.
kind.